And let's say together, Lord, teach me to be generous. Teach me to serve you as you deserve. To give and not to count the cost. To fight and not to eat the wounds. To toil and not to seek for rest. To labor and not to ask for reward. Say that knowing that I do your will. Amen. St. Ignatius, pray for us. All right, offer each other peace. Come on, let's do it. Brothers, indulge me for just a few moments to recollect with you some of the few truths that I know about being an Ignatian spiritual warrior. Some of you may remember the first journal I always give in every theology class every year. Of course, it's from Socrates. Bear with me, I majored in philosophy, also known as unemployment. I only get to use this once a year. Socrates said, the unexamined life is not worth living. Examine your life or don't live it. Sounds a little bit like Ignatius too, doesn't it? And Socrates further said, the more I study, the less I know. How encouraging for a bunch of graduates in high school, yes? Now, I'm not suggesting that we stop the search. I'm just suggesting to you that it's just a beginning. Socrates and the Greeks also had this great idea called mimesis, or recollection. They essentially said that all real learning, all true learning, has the quality that when I hear it, I feel like I've heard it before. Or I know, as Sensei says, in my gut, in my intuition, it is true. So recollect with me what you know to be true. I can only share with you nuggets of what I've experienced through you. So what do we know about being a spiritual warrior? The author John Steinbeck was once asked, Mr. Steinbeck, when does a boy become a man? And without hesitation, Steinbeck said, when a man is needed. A boy becomes a man when a man is needed. And so I ask you boys, what type of man is needed now? And I think our Ignatian training suggests an answer. Not a man for himself, but a man for others. So what does that mean? Well, it means a lot of things, but I want to give you just three, right? Always a short list. A man for others must do his examine and have his own manresa experience. And you know this is true. You can't be Ignatius, but you can follow his model. You must go to that cave within yourself and find what you find there. You take only what you have, right, as Yoda says, into that cave. And what you find there is your truth, your true self, not some mask or false self that you think you ought to be. And I think I can say with confidence that every one of you here this morning is on that journey because you are a member of the Prep Brotherhood. And do your examine. No matter what your walk of faith like, spend every day in prayer, meditation, and honest evaluation of your life. The highs and the lows, the consolations and the desolations, where every one of them will teach you what you need to know. Magis. Armed with the humble self-knowledge of your examine, that only comes from hours and hours of reflection, failure, false starts, and success, the Ignatian man for others gets up every day to do the magis. Not to be perfect, Ignatius was clear, to be better than you were today, tomorrow. To do the better thing, to go to the margins, to push yourself beyond your limits, and to serve never for yourself, but AMDG, ad maiorem Dei gloriam. Third, brotherhood. All I've said prior to this means nothing. Is dust in the wind without your brothers, without community, without being together and never leaving a man behind, and you know this. So as you go forth, do not forget your brotherhood. Do not forget the magis. Do not forget the examine. They will serve you on dark nights of the soul. They will serve you when you need it most. When you are confused, come back to what you know. Now, any good teacher knows that ultimately our final goal is to set you free, not to make you dependent on us. You don't need the Jedi training any longer because you're all Jedis. The apprenticeship is the oldest form of education, and it's our Jesuit model too. When I look out in this room, I see the promising faces of the class of 2015. Gifted young men. And I think of Matthew's gospel. You are the light of the world. A city set on a hill which cannot be hidden, and your light must shine. Don't doubt this light. It's in you. So I leave you with one final story, a Zen story in honor of Sensei. You may know it. There was a young Zen monk named Tokusan, and he was a real fire breather and an expert in the Diamond Sutra. And he was searching many years for a great teacher when he came upon the great master Yutan. Yutan meaning deep water and great dragon. And after days and nights of spiritual and Dharma combat and teaching, Tokusan believed he had attained enlightenment and was ready to set forth. It was pitch black in the early morning in 5th century China, and he stood at the threshold, but Yutan said, "You cannot go out in the dark without a light." So he handed him a single candle. And as Tokusan stepped out into the night, he turned and bowed to his master. Yutan leaned over, blew out the candle, and slammed the door in his face. It was in that moment that Tokusan received true enlightenment. Standing in the darkness, brothers, you have what Tokusan had in him in you. You have in you what Ignatius had in himself. Call it the light of wisdom or the seed of enlightenment. Call it the light of Christ. Whatever you call it, boys, it is within yourself. And your most meaningful task is to discover it. Our meaningful task is just to remind you that it's there. I wish you God's blessings on every step of your journey. I wish you peace, and I thank you for teaching me.